Hello, it's Chris Hynes from Wealthi. I hope you're all doing well. Today, I just wanted to run through a recap of the 2021 global markets. So in today's video, we'll run through how each market has performed, more so from an overview or an overall perspective, but provide you with a bit of a breakdown of how the Middle Eastern markets performed, how the US and the Canadian markets have performed as well as the European and Middle Eastern markets, and of course, the UK and Australia. So hopefully you get some value out of today's video. And if you have any questions come the end of it, please feel free to reach out to me. Give me a call, click on the book now link in the description below, or leave a comment in the comment section. I'm more than happy to run through any questions that may be playing on your mind after this video. So we'll get started and we'll see how we go. So to start off with, I thought we'd run over a quick global snapshot. So a lot of these numbers have been based off the Knight Frank Global House Price Index, which is a report that they release every quarter, which provides a good overview of how the market has been performing for the year that's been. So in terms of the Q3 2021 Global House Price Index that the Knight Frank report stated, 54 of the 56 countries and territories tracked saw price rises year on year. Only Malaysia and Morocco bucked the trends. 96% of markets recorded positive annual growth around the world. Now that is outside of the 54 of the 56 countries, but as a whole, looking globally, 96% of markets recorded positive annual growth. 48% of housing markets recorded annual price growth in excess of 10%. Prime examples of that are like Turkey, like Australia, like the Netherlands, Slovakia, just to name a few, but that gives you a little bit of an idea on which sort of markets have increased by over 10%. 9.4% average annual price change around 56 countries and territories as well. So we've seen some very, very strong price growth around the world. It's been driven by some very similar reasons. We've got record low interest rates that are being seen at a global level, depending on where you're located. If you look at the States, for example, Canada is a prime example, but interest rates in Canada are sitting around 1.9% at the moment. In the UK, you've got buy-to-let mortgages, which are available from about 2.3, 2.4% as well. And then looking at, let's say, the Australian market, where you're looking at about a 2.7, 2.8% interest rate. So borrowing costs are extremely low. We've also seen a shift in people wanting to be located in a city and deciding to move out to more rural or regional destinations as well. So that's also driven a lot of these price increases and this price growth that we've experienced over the past 12 months as well. And now we've almost got this fight for quality or fight for stock, in a sense, in the capital cities. We have an issue around the supply side of things. There is an undersupply in residential affordable housing across the globe, and it's really driving up prices. It's creating a very competitive real estate market and property market, which is, of course, driving prices up as well. Now, for the first time since the 1990s, house prices in non-rural areas have increased faster than in cities. The cost-benefit ratio of urban living has taken a sharp turn for the worse as entertainment shopping options have been reduced and city centre offices have been largely abandoned around the world. Obviously, that's due to lockdowns, restrictions that are now being implemented back into places, let's say Austria, the United Kingdom, Germany, where we're seeing the reintroduction of these restrictions as well, which is really not helping the commercial environment and commercial real estate, and really not providing, you could say, the most beneficial of environments for your shopping options, for your entertainment and hospitality, which are being forced to close, and then, of course, your office space. Now, going back to Turkey, so Turkey recorded the highest annual growth rate in the year to Q3 2021 in nominal terms. South Korea recorded the highest rate of annual growth in the year to Q3 2021 in real terms. Now, we'll start off with Australia. So in the 12 months to the 30th of November, property values surged by 22.2% nationally, the largest annual increase since 1989. The synchronized upswing saw almost every capital city and rest of state region reach record high values, with the exception of Western Australia and Northern Territory. Australia's housing market recorded outstanding capital growth for 2021, with the estimated value of residential real estate now worth 9.4 trillion Australian dollars, which is a new record high. In terms of sales volume increased to the highest level in almost 18 years, with an estimated 614,635 sales in the past 12 months. And now, I thought it'd be worthwhile including this slide as well. So this is talking about the change in dwelling values in the 12 months to 2021, or November 2021, sorry. So as a whole, Australia, as mentioned, saw an increase of 22.2% for the entirety of the country. Looking at your regional cities, or regional locations, which also performed extremely well. As a whole, the combined regionals saw an increase of 25.2%. In terms of your capitals, they saw an increase of 21.3%. Leading the way over the past 12 months has been Sydney, which saw a 25.8% rise in the dwelling values. In second place, you've got Brisbane, and Brisbane's seen some exceptional growth over the past 12 months, which has been fueled by a lot of interstate migration and people moving up there from a lifestyle perspective, you could say. I guess there was a lot of uncertainty in Sydney and Melbourne as to how long lockdowns would go on for. Brisbane was relatively unscathed for a long period of time. And from a lifestyle perspective, and given that people were able to work from home and that was becoming a more viable option, from a lifestyle perspective, it made a lot of sense for people to move up to Queensland. So we saw a lot of that shift in migration into the Sunshine State. Now, we'll have a quick look at the United Kingdom. So 1 in 16 privately owned homes will have changed hands this year, making it the busiest market since 2007. Wales continues to register the highest rate of house price growth across the regions at 10.8%, followed by the northwest of England at 9%. The market in London, which was most affected by the pandemic and subsequent lockdowns, is registering price growth of 2.3% for the year. Among the UK's largest cities, Liverpool, Manchester and Sheffield continue to show the highest rates of growth at 10.6%, 8.7% and 7.9% respectively. Total supply of homes is 42% below the 5-year average, but for homes, stock volumes are 55% lower. Now, looking at Europe quickly, so house prices have risen in no less than 23 of the 25 European housing markets. In the second quarter of 2021, house prices, as measured by the House Price Index, rose by 7.3 on average in the EU compared to the previous year. So as a whole, the European Union has fared extremely well. As a whole, you've come out 7.3% higher than what you were a year ago. So I think given the circumstances and given what we've been through in the past 12 to 18 months in Europe and the UK, I think that's some very strong growth as a whole. In terms of largest increases, and one that I haven't put on here given that I mentioned Turkey earlier, however, biggest increases were seen in Sweden, where they climbed 20.3%, Netherlands, which grew 18.4%, and Slovakia, where they jumped 18.4% as well. Interest rates have fallen to a record low, 1.32% for new housing loans in the Eurozone in August. So extremely low lending and borrowing costs. We're seeing a lot of people move out of these cities and into more regional locations. Now, taking a look at Asia Pacific, so real estate prices in Tokyo have been increasing almost continuously for over 2 decades now, bolstered by attractive financing conditions and a growing population. Looking at the Japanese market, Japan as a whole increased by 8.9% for the year as of Q3 2021. Quick look at Singapore. So Singapore house prices grew by 7.5% year on year in September 2021, following an increase of 7.1% year on year in the previous quarter. Hong Kong house prices grew by 3.5% year on year in October to October 2021. Taiwan house prices grew by 9.8% year on year. And South Korea house prices grew by 16% year on year in November 2021. So South Korea has done extremely well. That's been fueled by very generous, you could say, financing conditions and borrowing criteria, and also the growing population in South Korea as well. But some very, very strong signs as a whole in the Asian Pacific market. Now, a quick look at the Middle Eastern markets, so places like Dubai, Israel, Abu Dhabi, and we'll just run over these quickly as well. So average prices in Abu Dhabi and Dubai increased by 2.2% and 4.4% respectively in the year to August 2021. In Dubai, estimates show that residential transaction volume increased by 76.8% in the year to date to September 2021 compared to the same period in a year earlier. So a lot more activity in the Dubai market. A lot of people have Dubai back on their radar, you could say, and they're doing a substantial number of transactions this year. Although construction has slowed, there is essentially limitless supply in Dubai, posing a risk for long-term appreciation prospects. But as a whole, I think the Dubai market is a very strong and resilient market. I think there's going to always be that interest from foreign investors into the Dubai real estate market. We've seen it in the past. I'm sure we'll see it again, but we can really see that transaction volumes have increased over the past 12 months to September in Dubai, up 76%, which is absolutely insane, and still seeing some steady price growth as a whole. If it wasn't, if we weren't comparing this with the rest of the world through a pandemic, and given the bounce back that we've seen from the pandemic, seeing 4.4% price growth in Dubai is still a very strong and steady growth. Now, looking at the Israeli property market, which has performed exceptionally well as well over the past 12 months, but Israeli house prices have nearly doubled in a decade, having experienced growth of over 10% thus far this year. And in the central region, prices rose 11.9%. In Jerusalem, you're looking at 9.9%, and in the north, 9.6%. In the south, about 9%, and then in Tel Aviv, 8.8%. But as a whole, the Israeli market has performed extremely well. Now, looking at the US, historically low mortgage rates have supported price growth in the US over the past 4 or 5 quarters. Price changes in New York, which saw a 5.6% increase, Boston, which saw a 10.3%, San Fran, which saw a 7.6% rise, and Los Angeles, which saw a 2.7% rise, are all trailing the nationwide average, which over the past 12 months has been 18.1% as a whole. We've seen a lot of people looking for more space in the States. They want to move out of these metropolitan areas, out of the city centers, and move to somewhere where they have more space. As we've seen a shift in the way in which people work as well, people are looking to be able to have that remote working option, have a home office, have some space, and have more of a lifestyle. I think it's more of a lifestyle choice as well. So we're seeing the desire for more space, the potential for more widespread adoption of remote working, which has shifted a significant amount of demand from densely populated areas. Now, San Francisco and New York have been hit hard by falling demand. Price levels in the two cities have declined and rents plummeted by more than 15% from mid-2020 and mid-2021. However, in saying that, New York has still recorded a 5.6% increase to property prices over the past 12 months. But as mentioned previously, with people looking to move out of these capital cities, it hasn't helped in terms of demand for these locations as well. But New York being the place that New York is, it's up there with your London, your Paris, your Dubai, your Sydney. It's one of those global destinations, and the market will continue to move. High net worth, ultra high net worth still have a very great desire, or very large desire, to be in New York or own a piece of real estate in New York as well. So I think that regardless of that lack of demand, you could say, I think it'll still see some very solid price growth as we head into the new year. And finally, we'll take a quick look at the Canadian market. So the MLS Home Price Index for Canada jumped for a third straight month, surging 2.7% from October. Relatively to a year ago, the index is up an astonishing 25.3% for the 12 months, a record high propelled by historic supply shortage. Ultra-low mortgage rates, demand for larger living spaces during the COVID pandemic, combined to make Canada one of the hottest housing markets in the world over the past 2 years. Construction has also begun on more than 300,000 homes during the month, one of the strongest on record, and a sign that developers are starting to respond to the housing shortage. And I saw there was actually mention in the papers recently about the Canadian Prime Minister addressing the housing shortage and making it a real focus of his for his next campaign, really trying to create some more houses, making it more affordable for more people to get on the housing ladder as well. And so I think that's a great initiative being set out by the Canadian Prime Minister. I think we'll see some more houses being developed off the back of it to really help address the supply shortage that Canada are seeing at the moment. Now, that is it for the breakdown today. I hope you've got some value out of this video. It's always good to run through how the market has responded and performed over the past 12 months at the end of the year. I enjoy looking through the numbers and comparing, you could say, the different regions around the world and how they do stack up against one another. So it's been fantastic to run through this. Hopefully you've got some value out of the video. If you've got any questions, please feel free to flick me a message, and I look forward to hearing from you all very soon. Have a fantastic Christmas if I don't speak to you before then. Thank you very much.